Hello to you and welcome to Adelante Chicago. I'm Lourdes Duarte. Bienvenidos. Thank you so much for joining us today. Let's begin with what has become a fiery topic about how schools assess a student's knowledge. Illinois, one of about 40 states that in the last few years has put in place what's known as Common Core. Is it working? That's the question. And what does it mean for some of our Latino students? As students head back to class, it's probably the right time to talk about it right now. Joining us to tell us more about Common Core, Rebecca Vonderlack Navarro. She is with the Latino Policy Forum. Welcome.
Thank you so much.
All right, we're going to talk about why the Latino Policy Forum is getting involved, but let's just start with the basics. Common Core, if people haven't heard about it, what is it?
So I think simply you can think it's a common core of information of what students are to know in math and in English language arts. And these new standards can serve as guideposts for teachers about what students are to know in those subject areas.
So how have the standards changed? Are they higher now than they used to be? Is it tougher to take some of these exams? What's the difference?
So I think one thing that happened is we have always had standards in education, but before standards were different in different states. So if I had a kid who graduated here in Chicago and my brother's kid graduated somewhere in California, I wouldn't know if they were graduating at the same
Are they
standard.
at the same playing field?
So part of it was to establish uniformity in expectations.
Okay, and they're doing it in 40 states, Illinois being one of them. What happens with the remainder of the states? Will we see changes there as well? Is it something that's a work in progress and it may change through the years, or it just depends?
It depends, and I think it's important to say that while it was a national group of governors and education commissioners that developed these standards, it's up to states if they want to adopt these standards. So it's up to each state to decide.
Let's get into Latino students and how this impacts them. The big issue with that, you said it's the language barrier.
Yeah, I mean, that can be an issue, and not all Latinos speak a language other than English at home, but we know many do. And I think one thing that I'm doing is conducting workshops with parents to talk about these new standards. And I think it's important to look at, say, tests and how they're changing. And if you look at a previous test, much of us are familiar, say in math, you might be asked for a calculation and you fill in a bubble, A, B, C, or D. And what's a lot different now is students are having to show a lot more problem solving in their answers.
So would they have to explain how they came up with that answer? Is that basically what you're saying?
And they're having to show more of their work. And this could be a good thing because we could have a better idea of what students know because they're having to show more. But it means kind of three things for students in that they're having to show higher conceptual knowledge of math. So yeah, the expectations are higher. If you look at the problems, there's usually a lot of words. They're having to navigate a lot of reading, a lot of language to know even what they need to calculate. And then these are all on computers. So it's an expectation around computer literacy too. And we have a really diverse student body, diverse Latino student body, right? With different access to computers and different levels of reading and writing.
Okay, so my next question becomes, if they have sort of upped the standards, made it a little bit more difficult to take these tests or to understand them, right? Have they given kids the tools to get there? Because I think everybody is okay with the fact that, hey, you want kids to perform at a higher level, but you also have to give them the tools to get there. And I don't know if that's happening.
Yeah, and I think, you know, it would depend on where your kid is and what that school is able to do. This is being implemented in such varied contexts. And so much, I think, depends on the time and the support and resources that teachers are being given. And one thing research is showing, you know, aside from Common Core, teachers more and more are saying, I really want help on second language acquisition. How can I help kids cultivate English in deep and exciting ways in math, in language? And it's a concern of the forum that second language acquisition wasn't a priority in the standards because in one way there's a great opportunity here in talking about teachers being teachers of language. So even if you're in an English-only classroom, you're building the language of math. You're teaching kids to write and read in math. And in a way, that's really great. That gets a deeper understanding. But if your first language is in English, you're asking kids to get to a higher level of math and to build language. It's that dual demand, and teachers need support in that area.
Okay, where does the Latino Policy Forum fall into all of this? Are you for Common Core? Are you against Common Core? Because there seem to be both two sides to it. You know, in a one way, it's really good for students to up their standards, and in another, it's really hurting them and making it more difficult to maybe go on to college or do well on these tests.
Yeah, and I think it's a great question. I think there definitely is a lot of controversy out there. The position we're taking right now is they're here. What does this mean for parents? And so I think there's two main features of that, and that's new homework that's going to be more demanding of your kids, and new tests with richer language, more problem solving, like we said, but then also this language piece and this language development. And it's, in a way, we can embrace this as a great opportunity for parents to see their role in teachers of language. Even if your first language isn't English, building language in rich and exciting ways and turning your kids on to learning has never been more critical and more important.
Yeah, I know that there are other states that are making changes to this on exactly how it works, and I don't know where we are here in Illinois. Are we improving it, or are we just sort of taking it as it comes?
The second language acquisition?
Just the Common Core. They've made some changes to it.
Yeah, and I think that's something that's still developing. Yeah.
Yeah, we'll have to keep watching it.
Yeah, I would keep watching that for those developments. And this will be the first year that the tests are coming. So it'll be new to see how kids do on those tests.
All right, sounds good. What's the website for Latino Policy Forum if people want to get more information?
It's latinopolicyforum.org.
All right, sounds good.